Have you ever wondered what it truly takes to enjoy your golden years with dignity and fulfillment? Aging gracefully isn't just about the inevitable changes that come with time. It's about the choices we make every day to enhance our lives and relationships. In this video, we'll explore 9 essential behaviors to avoid that can help you navigate the journey of aging with grace and confidence. By watching until the end, you will discover practical strategies to strengthen your connections with others, boost your self-esteem, and overcome the unique challenges that come with getting older. Whether you're approaching your later years or supporting a loved one through the stage of life, this guide offers valuable insights to ensure that your experience is rich, meaningful, and joyful. Don't miss out on learning how to transform your perspective and embrace the best version of yourself in your golden years. If you are not subscribed, I recommend subscribing and activating the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support means a lot to me. And if you enjoyed this video, you can help me continue spreading the valuable lessons by liking and sharing it. 1. Monopolizing conversations. As we journey through life and the years accumulate, we naturally gather a treasure trove of stories. Tales from our youth filled with adventure, hard-won wisdom from our careers, and cherished memories with loved ones. These moments, shaped by decades of experience, often feel deeply significant to us, and it's tempting to believe that they deserve to be shared at every opportunity. Yet, as we grow older, one of the most common and emotionally charged mistakes we make is unintentionally monopolizing conversations. We can become so eager to impart our knowledge, to offer our advice, and to relive those precious memories that we fail to notice we are overwhelming others, leaving little room for their voices to be heard. This behavior, though often unintentional, can create a sense of distance between us and those we care about. Friends, family members, and even casual acquaintances may start to feel disconnected, as if their experiences and perspectives are being overshadowed by the weight of our stories. Younger people, in particular, might feel especially unheard or even dismissed, as if their thoughts and feelings are insignificant in the face of what we have to say. The enthusiasm with which we share our experiences, while coming from a place of love, pride, or a desire to help, can inadvertently come across as self-centered, as though we are more focused on our narrative than on truly listening and connecting with others. This tendency to dominate conversations can lead to feelings of frustration and alienation in those around us. It can make them reluctant to engage, unsure if they'll have the chance to contribute meaningfully to the discussion. Over time, this can erode relationships that once felt warm and close, leaving behind a sense of isolation that can be painful for both sides. In our eagerness to share the wisdom of our years, we may forget that the most meaningful conversations are not those in which we simply speak, but those in which we genuinely listen, where we create a space for others to share their own stories, struggles, and dreams. After all, true connection is built on reciprocity, where each person feels valued, heard, and understood. Expanding perspective. Imagine you're at a lively social gathering, surrounded by friends or family members, all engaged in a discussion about a recent event that stirred everyone's attention. The atmosphere is buzzing with opinions, anecdotes, and reflections, and suddenly, you're reminded of a similar experience from your past. Maybe it was decades ago, but the memory is vivid, and you feel the urge to jump in, eager to share your insight. It's a familiar temptation. The pull of our own stories and the desire to offer wisdom from our archives. But before you speak, consider pausing for just a moment. Ask yourself, will my input enhance the conversation, or will it inadvertently shift the focus back to me? This small moment of reflection can transform the dynamics of the discussion. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment one below to let me know that you are still here with me. In today's world, especially when interacting with younger generations, there is immense value in allowing them to express their views without feeling overshadowed by the stories of those who have lived longer. Each generation has its perspectives, challenges, and experiences that deserve to be voiced and appreciated. When we, as elders, always take the lead in conversations, we risk unintentionally silencing those whose voices may already feel hesitant to speak up. Resisting the impulse to dominate a conversation isn't just about good manners. It's about showing respect. By actively listening and engaging with what others are saying, we create a space that fosters genuine connection. There's something profoundly generous in the act of listening. It demonstrates that we care not just about our own experiences, but about theirs too. And in doing so, we invite others to feel heard and valued, enriching the entire social exchange. This act of listening creates an environment where people are more likely to open up and share their stories and thoughts with a sense of confidence. The ripple effect of such a simple gesture, choosing to listen rather than speak, cannot be understated. It builds trust, strengthens relationships, and allows for deeper emotional bonds to form. Listening, in many ways, is far more powerful than the stories we tell, because it invites others to be their authentic selves without the fear of being overshadowed. Practical approach. If you've noticed that you tend to dominate conversations, don't be disheartened. There are easy, practical steps you can take to create more balanced interactions. Start by setting a personal guideline for yourself. After you've shared one story or contributed to a discussion, make a conscious effort to invite others into the conversation. Simple phrases like, "What are your thoughts on this?" or "I'd love to hear your perspective," signal to others that their input matters just as much as yours. These small verbal cues are more than polite gestures. They actively shift the focus from yourself to others, encouraging them to share their insights, thoughts, and experiences. Another practical method is to set a mental time limit on how long you contribute before passing the conversation along. Once you've shared, challenge yourself to remain silent for a period and listen intently to others. You might be surprised by how much you learn or how the conversation unfolds in a way you hadn't anticipated. By consciously giving the floor to others, you not only allow the conversation to become more inclusive, but you also relieve the subtle pressure that can build up when one person consistently dominates. This shift in approach can be especially important in family settings, where younger relatives may already feel hesitant to speak in the presence of elders. By regularly inviting their input, you not only make them feel more comfortable, but you also model the kind of inclusive dialogue that fosters stronger relationships. It's not just about hearing their words, but about truly listening to their hearts. When others sense that you genuinely care about what they have to say, they are far more likely to engage deeply and meaningfully, creating richer and more fulfilling conversations for everyone involved. Deeper takeaway. Over time, cultivating the reputation of someone who listens more than they speak is a hallmark of true wisdom. As we age, the temptation to share our stories or give advice can be strong, but wisdom often lies in knowing when to hold back. It's the quiet strength of those who can observe, listen, and offer their contributions thoughtfully that often leaves the most lasting impression. There's a deep power in stepping back and allowing others to shine, to speak, and to share their own experiences. Humility and patience, shown through deep listening, create a more powerful legacy than any story we could tell. Imagine how others perceive you as someone who is not only wise but also deeply present, someone who values others' contributions as much as their own. This reputation of being a thoughtful conversationalist transcends generations. It builds a sense of admiration and trust, drawing people closer to you because they know they'll be heard, respected, and appreciated. In a world where so many people are eager to be heard, being the person who listens can set you apart, creating meaningful connections that last a lifetime. As we age, let's aim to become conversationalists who don't enrich discussions by dominating them, but by enhancing them through thoughtful engagement. We can learn to share our stories when appropriate, but more importantly, to make space for the stories of others. There is beauty in the exchange of perspectives, and by listening, we open the door to new ideas, new emotions, and new connections. The art of conversation is not in the quantity of words spoken, but in the quality of the exchange, where each person feels valued and heard. This, ultimately, is the most powerful gift we can offer in any dialogue. 2. Excessive bragging. As we go through life and experience its highs and lows, we naturally want to feel proud of the things we've achieved, the family we've built, and the successes we've earned. There's a deep sense of fulfillment in seeing how far we've come, how much we've grown, and the milestones we or our loved ones have reached. But as we age, there's a delicate balance between sharing that pride and coming across as boastful or self-absorbed. Unfortunately, many older adults, without even realizing it, slip into the habit of excessive bragging. Whether it's about personal accomplishments, financial success, or most commonly, the achievements of their children or grandchildren, this habit can easily alienate those around us. Bragging frequently, especially when it becomes a recurring theme in conversations, can push people away. It can create a sense of distance, making us seem disconnected from the realities of others' lives. We might think we're simply sharing our joy, but to others, it can feel like we're showing off or constantly trying to one-up the conversation. This behavior can be particularly harmful when we boast about things others might be struggling with, such as financial security, family stability, or personal success. What we perceive as a source of pride might, for someone else, be a painful reminder of what they lack or what they've lost. And over time, this can erode relationships, creating an emotional barrier that leaves others feeling inadequate, resentful, or even excluded from our world. Expanding perspective. Take a moment to imagine sitting with a dear friend who has faced more than their fair share of challenges. Perhaps they've experienced financial hardship, or their children are going through a rough patch. In such a context, frequently bringing up how successful your children are or how financially secure you feel might unintentionally drive a wedge between you and your friend. Though you may not mean any harm, constantly highlighting your successes could make them feel inferior, as if their struggles pale in comparison to your triumphs. This doesn't mean you should suppress your pride or avoid sharing your joy, but it does mean being mindful of how and when you share. The difference lies in the sensitivity and empathy you bring to the conversation. Moreover, excessive bragging can sometimes reflect deeper, unspoken insecurities. The constant need to seek validation from others or to highlight our achievements may suggest that we're not as confident in ourselves as we appear. Perhaps we need to remind ourselves and others of our worth because deep down, we fear it might go unnoticed. But people who are truly secure in their accomplishments don't feel the need to bring them up in every conversation. They understand that their lives, their actions, and the way they carry themselves speak volumes without having to verbally announce every achievement. True confidence, after all, is quiet and steady. It doesn't seek attention but naturally draws admiration. Another important consideration is how bragging can affect relationships with those who are close to us. Boasting frequently can make conversations feel one-sided, where instead of connecting, we are listing accomplishments. This can be exhausting for others, who may feel like they're being held up to an impossible standard. It's easy to forget that what we share in a moment of pride might come across as competitive or dismissive, especially if the other person is going through a tough time. Whether we're talking about our children's accolades or our financial stability, constantly shining a spotlight on our success can overshadow the experiences of those around us. Over time, this can make others reluctant to engage, knowing that the conversation might always circle back to our achievements rather than being a balanced exchange. Practical approach. If you find that you often share your successes, a practical approach is to shift the focus of the conversation from what you've achieved to what you've learned. Instead of saying, "My children are doing so well in their careers," you could reframe it to, "Through my journey as a parent, I've learned a lot about patience and resilience." This subtle shift not only conveys a sense of humility, but also invites others into the conversation. Rather than feeling like they need to match your accomplishments, they may feel encouraged to reflect on their own experiences and lessons learned. This fosters a more balanced, thoughtful dialogue that's rooted in shared wisdom rather than individual accolades. Another helpful strategy is to pay attention to the balance of the conversation. After sharing a story or a piece of news you're proud of, consciously make space for others. Ask open-ended questions like, "What's been going on with you?" or "How are things in your world?" This not only ensures that the conversation remains inclusive, but also signals to the other person that their experiences and opinions are just as important as yours. Remember, A conversation should feel like a dance, where both partners take turns leading and following, rather than a monologue where only one voice is heard. If you catch yourself starting to brag, take a moment to reflect on why you're doing it. Is it out of genuine excitement, or is there a deeper need for validation? By becoming aware of your motivations, you can start to adjust your approach, focusing on sharing experiences in a way that uplifts others rather than positioning yourself in the spotlight. And when you do share your accomplishments, make sure it's in the context of a larger conversation where everyone has the opportunity to speak and be heard. Deeper takeaway: the most admirable people are often those who don't need to boast to be recognized for their achievements. Their successes are evident in how they live their lives, how they treat others, and the quiet confidence they exude. As we age, there's immense value in shifting our focus from external achievements like career milestones, material wealth, or family accomplishments to internal growth. Cultivating qualities like empathy, humility, and deep listening are far more meaningful than the fleeting satisfaction of boasting. It's these qualities that build lasting, genuine connections with others, relationships that are rooted in respect and understanding. There's also a profound sense of peace that comes from not feeling the need to prove yourself. When you reach a place where you can quietly enjoy your successes without feeling the urge to announce them, you'll find that others gravitate towards you for the right reasons. They'll appreciate you for your wisdom, your grace, and your ability to listen, rather than for the medals or trophies you've accumulated over the years. True confidence is measured not by how loudly you trumpet your achievements, but by how humbly you carry them. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. In a world that often values loudness and recognition, there's something refreshingly powerful about being the person who listens more than they speak. As you age, aim to become the kind of conversationalist who enriches dialogue by contributing thoughtfully and listening deeply, rather than by dominating with your successes. The legacy you leave behind will not be defined by how much you boasted, but by how much you lifted others, how much you listened, and how much you created spaces for others to feel seen, heard, and valued. 3. Judging people based on first impressions. One of the more subtle but powerful pitfalls of aging is a tendency to become rigid in our thinking, including how we perceive and judge others. After years of experiences, it's tempting to believe we've seen it all, that we can quickly and accurately assess a person's character based on just a glance or a brief encounter. However, this habit of making snap judgments based on first impressions can close us off from opportunities for meaningful relationships and severely limit our understanding of those around us. As we get older, we may find ourselves judging others based on superficial traits, things like their appearance, age, background, or even their political or social views. While it may feel like a harmless and even instinctive behavior, this tendency can build barriers between us and others, keeping us from forming deeper, more authentic connections that could enrich our lives. Even more concerning, it reinforces stereotypes and perpetuates prejudices, preventing us from seeing people as they truly are. Expanding perspective. Think back to a time in your own life when someone judged you unfairly. Maybe they made assumptions based solely on how you looked and your background, or perhaps they misunderstood your intentions based on one brief encounter. How did it feel to be reduced to a single aspect of yourself? How frustrating was it to be judged on surface-level qualities without being given the chance to show who you truly are? Now consider that, even if unintentionally, you might be doing the same to others. Every person carries a story, layers of experiences, emotions, struggles, and triumphs that first impressions can rarely capture. When we rush to categorize or judge someone based on these brief encounters, we miss out on the richness of their story and the unique complexity that makes each special. Instead of relying on initial judgments, take the opportunity to peel back the layers and get to know the person. This requires patience, openness, and the willingness to engage beyond the surface level. Imagine the richness of the connections you could form if you gave people the chance to reveal themselves fully without the pressure of preconceived notions. By asking thoughtful questions, listening actively, and suspending judgment, You open yourself up to the possibility of deeper, more fulfilling relationships. Not only does this allow others to feel seen and heard, but it also challenges your own biases and preconceptions, leading to profound personal growth. Moreover, judging people based on first impressions doesn't just harm your ability to connect with others. It can also reinforce harmful stereotypes that limit your worldview. The assumptions we make about others based on things like appearance or background are often deeply rooted in societal biases that we may not even be aware of. When we judge someone too quickly, we perpetuate these biases and miss the opportunity to expand our understanding of the diverse human experience. As we age, it becomes increasingly important to challenge these patterns of thinking, not just for the sake of others, but for our own continued growth and evolution. Practical approach. If you find yourself quick to judge someone new, there are practical steps you can take to shift this mindset. The next time you meet someone for the first time, make a conscious effort to reserve judgment. Instead of mentally categorizing them based on appearance, their mannerisms, or what little you know about them, try approaching the interaction with curiosity rather than certainty. One effective way to do this is by asking open-ended questions. For example, instead of talking about where they work or what they do, which often leads to snap judgments based on career or status, ask deeper questions like, what has been your biggest challenge this year? Or what are you passionate about? These kinds of questions invite the person to share something meaningful, giving you a chance to see beyond the surface and understand more about who they are at their core. Another practical tip is to pay attention to your internal reactions during conversations. If you feel yourself making a judgment, pause and reflect on where that reaction is coming from. Is it rooted in an experience, a stereotype, or a preconceived belief? By acknowledging these biases, you can begin to dismantle them and approach each person with a fresh perspective. Remember, everyone is fighting battles you may know nothing about, and everyone has a story that's worth hearing. The goal is not to never form opinions about people, but rather to give yourself the time and space to form informed opinions based on meaningful interactions rather than quick assumptions. By doing so, you open the door to connections that are grounded in mutual respect and understanding, rather than judgment and division. Deeper takeaway: wisdom is not just about knowledge, it's about understanding. And understanding comes not from quick assessments or snap judgments, but from listening, observing, and withholding judgment until we truly get to know someone. As we age, cultivating a mindset of openness, rather than certainty, allows us to form more authentic, meaningful connections with those around us. It also keeps our minds sharp and receptive to new experiences, preventing us from becoming stagnant in our thinking. When we allow ourselves to approach others with curiosity rather than judgment, we are continuously learning, growing, and evolving. Each person we meet becomes an opportunity to see the world from a new perspective and to gain insight into experiences that may be vastly different from our own. This openness to other stories, to their humanity, is what keeps us connected to the world in a meaningful way, even as we age. In a society that often encourages quick judgments and surface-level interactions, making the effort to go deeper, reserve judgment, and embrace the complexity of others is a radical act of wisdom and empathy. It's a practice that not only enriches our relationships, but also nourishes our growth and understanding of the world around us. The older we get, the more important it becomes to stay open to change, to new perspectives, and the infinite complexity of human beings. For neglecting personal appearance. As we grow older, it's easy to adopt the mindset that how we look no longer matters. There's often a belief that, as we age, our focus should shift entirely inward, emphasizing the importance of character, wisdom, and inner beauty over outward appearances. And while it's true that who we are on the inside, the kindness we show, the compassion we embody, far outweighs superficial looks, this doesn't mean that our appearance should be neglected altogether. Maintaining our appearance is not about trying to cling to youth, but about preserving our dignity, self-respect, and the positive image we have of ourselves. When we stop caring about how we look, it can have deeper consequences, not only in how others perceive us, but more importantly, in how we feel about ourselves. Taking care of our appearance is an act of self-care and self-respect. Neglecting it can lead to a gradual decline in self-esteem. When we no longer make an effort to present ourselves in a neat and polished way, it can contribute to feelings of inadequacy, indifference, or even depression. What begins as an outward change in how we dress or groom ourselves can slowly influence our inner state, leaving us feeling disconnected from the person we once were. Conversely, when we take small steps to maintain our appearance, it can lift our spirits, boost our confidence, and remind us that we still take pride in ourselves and the life we're living. Moreover, the way we present ourselves to the world sends a message about how we feel and engage with life. A neat, well-groomed appearance suggests vitality, self-respect, and a continued commitment to living fully. It shows that we are still present, still invested in ourselves and the world around us. On the other hand, a neglected appearance can signal withdrawal, apathy, or a lack of interest in life. While we should never judge someone solely based on their appearance, the truth is that how we present ourselves has an impact on both how others perceive us and how we perceive ourselves. Expanding perspective. Think about how you feel after a fresh haircut, or when you put on an outfit that makes you feel confident and put together. There's a quiet sense of renewal, a subtle but unmistakable boost in self-esteem that comes from looking your best. It's not about trying to impress others or seeking external validation. It's about the inner sense of pride and confidence that comes with feeling well-groomed and well-dressed. Now, imagine seeing a dear friend or relative you haven't seen in years, only to find that they've stopped taking care of themselves. Their clothes are ill-fitting or worn out, their hair unkempt. The change in their appearance might leave you feeling concerned or even saddened because it signals a deeper disengagement from life. It's not just about looks. It's about what those changes represent. It's important to remember that taking care of our appearance isn't an act of vanity. It's an act of self-care and self-preservation. It's a way of maintaining our connection to who we are, of showing ourselves in the world that we still take pride in our lives. Even small efforts like wearing clean, well-fitting clothes, keeping our hair trimmed, or maintaining basic grooming can make a significant difference in how we feel about ourselves and how others respond to us. These small acts of care send a powerful message that no matter how many years we've lived, we still value ourselves and we're still engaged in the process of living. Practical approach. If you've fallen into the habit of neglecting your appearance, it's never too late to make small changes that can lead to a big difference in how you feel. Start by setting simple, achievable goals. Maybe it's time to revisit the barber or hair salon for a fresh cut that makes you feel polished and refreshed. Or perhaps you could invest in a few new pieces of clothing that fit well and make you feel good about yourself. You don't need to overhaul your entire wardrobe or spend a fortune on new clothes. Sometimes, just one or two well-chosen items can dramatically improve how you feel when you look in the mirror. Another practical tip is to incorporate small self-care rituals into your routine. This could mean taking a little extra time in the morning to groom yourself, whether it's shaving, styling your hair, or putting on an outfit that makes you feel confident. These simple actions can help you start the day with a sense of purpose and pride. Over time, you may find that these small changes lead to a shift in your mindset, reminding you that self-care is not just about how you look, but how you feel about yourself. It's also important to remember that caring for your appearance doesn't have to be a solo endeavor. Ask a friend or family member for their opinion if you're unsure about trying a new style or updating your wardrobe. Sometimes, getting a fresh perspective can make the process of self-care feel more engaging and less like a chore. Deeper takeaway. At its core, self-care is a reflection of self-respect. By taking care of your appearance, you're not just maintaining how others see you. You're nurturing your sense of worth, dignity, and pride. It's a simple but powerful way to remind yourself that you still matter, that you're still engaged with life, no matter how many years have passed. The effort you put into maintaining your appearance is an outward expression of an inward truth, that you value yourself and the life you're living. As we age, it's easy to focus solely on the importance of inner beauty, And while our character, kindness, and wisdom are undoubtedly more important than superficial looks, outward appearance still plays a role in how we interact with the world. Maintaining our appearance helps us feel confident, grounded, and connected to our identity. It's not about looking younger or impressing others. It's about feeling good in our skin and showing up for ourselves. When we neglect our appearance, it's not just about letting go of aesthetics. It can also signal that we're letting go of our connection to the world, to our sense of pride and purpose. Taking care of ourselves, even in small ways, reminds us that we're still active participants in life, and it reinforces the value we place on ourselves. Ultimately, self-care, including caring for our appearance, is a form of self-love, and it allows us to show up in the world with confidence, dignity, and grace. 5. Expecting respect without earning it. There was a time when simply reaching a certain age automatically commanded respect. In many cultures, elders were seen as the pillars of wisdom, and their words carried weight simply because of their years of experience. However, times have changed, and respect is no longer something that's freely given based solely on seniority. Younger generations, in particular, tend to value independence, critical thinking, and the challenge of traditional hierarchies. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. As a result, the respect that may have once been afforded to older adults without question is no longer guaranteed. This shift can be frustrating for older adults, who may feel overlooked or dismissed when they're not treated with the deference they believe they deserve. But it's important to recognize that in today's world, respect must be earned through actions and behaviors rather than demanded based on age alone. The reality is, if we expect younger people to respect us simply because we are older, we risk alienating them and appearing out of touch with modern values. While age brings experience alone doesn't automatically garner admiration or respect. True respect comes from how we treat others, regardless of our age or theirs. It's earned through kindness, humility, and a willingness to listen, learn, and adapt. When older adults demand respect without taking the time to cultivate meaningful relationships, they inadvertently build walls between themselves and younger generations, leading to frustration and division. Expanding perspective. Imagine walking into a room, confident that because of your age, your opinions and decisions will automatically be deferred to. You've lived through countless experiences, weathered storms, and learned valuable lessons along the way. Why wouldn't others naturally respect your wisdom? But when this respect isn't immediately forthcoming, it's easy to feel slighted, dismissed, or even disrespected. You may think, don't they know how much I've been through? However, this feeling of entitlement can be more harmful than helpful. Rather than expecting others to give us respect based on age alone, we must shift our mindset and focus on earning it through our actions. Respect is a two-way street. It's something that grows from mutual understanding, empathy, and engagement. Just as we hope younger people will respect our years of experience, we must also show respect for their insights, independence, and the unique contributions they bring to the world. By taking the time to listen to their perspectives and being open to their ideas, we demonstrate that we value them as individuals, not just as part of a younger generation. In many cases, older adults feel disrespected not because of intentional slighting by younger people, but because of a mismatch in expectations. The traditional view that age automatically warrants respect is less prevalent today. Younger generations place a high value on authenticity, openness, and reciprocal relationships. If they sense that respect is being demanded rather than earned, they may pull away or respond with resistance. The best way to bridge this gap is to approach others with humility and a genuine desire to learn from them, just as much as we hope they will learn from us. For example, when interacting with a younger person, try to put yourself in their shoes. How would you feel if you were expected to respect someone simply because they were older, even if that person didn't show you the same consideration? Now imagine instead that this older person took the time to get to know you, showed interest in your experiences, and offered their advice in a way that felt supportive rather than condescending. Respect in this context is cultivated naturally, not demanded. This approach creates a foundation of mutual respect and trust, where both sides feel valued. Practical approach. The next time you're interacting with someone younger, try to set aside any expectations of automatic respect. Instead, approach the conversation with the goal of building a relationship based on mutual understanding and kindness. Show genuine interest in their experiences, ideas, and opinions. Ask thoughtful questions that invite them to share their perspective, and be open to learning from their insights. This doesn't mean you should diminish your own experiences or expertise, but rather share them with humility and an openness to dialogue. One practical way to do this is by practicing active listening. Instead of immediately offering advice or sharing your perspective, take the time to fully hear what the other person is saying. Respond to their points thoughtfully, acknowledging their ideas before contributing your own. This simple act of listening can go a long way in fostering respect, as it shows that you value their input just as much as your own. When you do share your insights, do so in a way that invites conversation rather than dictating authority. For instance, instead of saying, "Here's what you should do," try framing your advice with, "In my experience, I've found this to be helpful, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on it." This approach not only softens the delivery of your wisdom, but also shows respect for the other person's autonomy and ability to make their own decisions. It's also helpful to remember that respect is not a one-time transaction. It's something that must be continually earned and nurtured over time. Consistently demonstrating kindness, patience, and understanding will foster deeper, more meaningful relationships with those around you, regardless of their age. When younger people see that you respect them as individuals, they are more likely to respond in kind, creating a positive cycle of mutual respect. Deeper takeaway. At its core, respect is something we cultivate through our actions and behaviors, not something we're entitled to simply because of our age. While it's natural to want others to recognize and value our experiences, the reality is that respect is earned through how we treat others, how we listen, how we engage, and how we offer our wisdom with humility rather than authority. By treating others, regardless of their age, with the same respect we hope to receive, we create stronger, more meaningful relationships that are built on trust and mutual appreciation. As we age, it's easy to feel that our years of experience should automatically grant us respect. But the truth is that respect in today's world is more nuanced. It's not about demanding deference, but about fostering relationships where respect flows naturally, grounded in kindness and understanding. By approaching others with openness, humility, and a genuine desire to connect, we can earn the kind of respect that lasts, a respect based not on age alone, but on the depth of our character and the way we treat others. 6. Holding on to grudges. Small slights, misunderstandings, deep wounds from family disputes, friendships that ended badly, or injustices that were never resolved. These experiences can leave emotional scars that, over time, harden into grudges. Holding on to grudges, however, is like carrying a heavy weight that drains us emotionally and robs us of the peace and joy we deserve, especially in our later years. Yet, for many older adults, letting go of these old hurts can feel nearly impossible. There's often a belief that forgiving someone means letting them off the hook, or that by forgiving, we are somehow minimizing the pain we endured. However, what we often fail to realize is that holding on to grudges only harms us. It keeps us emotionally tethered to the past, replaying old scenarios and stoking the flames of resentment. This emotional cycle prevents us from moving forward and fully enjoying the present moment. By clinging to anger and resentment, we remain stuck in a mental prison of our own making. On the other hand, forgiveness is not about excusing harmful behavior. It's a gift we give ourselves. It's the act of releasing the emotional baggage that weighs us down, allowing us to make room for peace, happiness, and new, positive experiences. Expanding perspective. Take a moment to reflect on a grudge you've held for years. Maybe it's against a family member who wronged you, a friend who betrayed your trust, or even a colleague who disrespected you. Think about how carrying this anger and resentment has affected your life. Has holding on to this grudge brought you peace or satisfaction, or has it prevented you from fully enjoying your relationships, your experiences, and even your happiness? It's easy to convince ourselves that holding a grudge gives us power, but in reality, it often does the opposite. It traps us in a cycle of negativity that affects our mental and emotional well-being. Now, imagine what it would feel like to finally let go of that grudge. Imagine forgiving. Not because the other person necessarily deserves forgiveness, but because you deserve peace. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting what happened or excusing hurtful behavior. It's about making a conscious decision to free yourself from the emotional chains that have kept you bound to the past. By forgiving, you're not saying that what happened was okay, but you are choosing to release yourself from the bitterness and anger that has been weighing you down for so long. Grudges can affect every aspect of our lives, from our mood and mental health to our relationships with others. They can seep into how we interact with new people, making us more guarded or cynical. But when we decide to forgive, we open ourselves up to a lighter, freer existence. We allow ourselves the emotional space to fully engage in the present and to build more meaningful, fulfilling relationships. Forgiveness isn't about the other person. It's about reclaiming your peace. Practical approach. If you're holding on to a grudge, the first step toward letting go is to reflect on whether the grudge is truly serving you. Is it bringing you any form of closure, or is it keeping you trapped in a cycle of bitterness? Consider taking a practical step toward forgiveness by writing a letter to the person involved. This letter doesn't have to be sent. It's more for you than for them. In the letter, express all your feelings, your hurt, your anger, and your resentment. Let it all out. By doing this, you're acknowledging your pain and validating your emotions, but you're also taking the first step toward releasing them. Writing out your feelings can be an incredibly powerful exercise in letting go. Once the emotions are out in the open, you may begin to see that the grudge you've been holding has more to do with your own need for closure than with the other person's actions. By choosing forgiveness, you're freeing yourself from the emotional burden that has been weighing you down for so long. This doesn't mean you need to reconcile with the person or even let them back into your life, but it does mean choosing to move forward without the weight of past hurts holding you back. If writing isn't your preferred method, consider having an honest conversation with yourself about the grudge. Ask yourself, is this resentment helping me or is it harming me? Sometimes, just acknowledging that a grudge is no longer serving a purpose can be enough to begin the process of letting go. Remember, forgiveness is a personal journey. It's not something you do for the other person. It's something you do for yourself. Deeper takeaway: life is too short to carry the weight of past hurts. As we age, we become more aware of how precious our time and energy are. Holding on to grudges, whether they stem from a minor argument or a deeply painful betrayal, drains that energy and prevents us from fully embracing the joy and peace that life still has to offer. By choosing forgiveness, you're choosing to live with a lighter heart, a clearer mind, and a soul unburdened by the bitterness of past experiences. Letting go of grudges is one of the most powerful steps you can take toward emotional freedom, especially in your later years. It's an act of self-love, a way of prioritizing your well-being over the desire for retribution or justice. In letting go, you're not forgetting or excusing the pain that was caused. You're simply choosing not to let it control your life any longer. You're choosing peace over resentment, freedom over bitterness, and joy over the pain of the past. Ultimately, letting go of grudges allows you to make space for more positive experiences, more love, and more happiness in your life. It's a courageous act of self-compassion, and it opens the door to deeper, more fulfilling relationships, both with others and with yourself. 7. Resisting change. One of the natural challenges of aging is the tendency to become resistant to change. After all, we've spent decades building routines, forming opinions, and establishing our ways of life. These routines often bring comfort and familiarity, providing us with a sense of stability in a constantly changing world. However, this comfort can sometimes become a barrier when we face new ideas, evolving technologies, or shifting societal norms. As we age, the difficulty of adapting to change can become more pronounced. And while it may feel easier to stick with what we know, Resisting change can lead to isolation, disconnection, and a growing sense of irrelevance in a world that never stops evolving. Change can be uncomfortable and even intimidating, but it's also a vital part of staying connected to the world around us. Resisting change doesn't just keep us in the past. It closes us off to new opportunities for growth, learning, and connection. Whether it's adapting to new technology, exploring fresh hobbies, or embracing different perspectives, being open to change helps us maintain a sense of vitality, relevance, and engagement with life. In many ways, change is what keeps life exciting and full of possibilities, no matter our age. Expanding perspective. Think back to some of the changes you've resisted in recent years. Maybe it's something as simple as learning to use a smartphone or social media to stay connected with family. Or perhaps it's been a more personal challenge, like adjusting to new societal norms or adopting different health habits. What has been the impact of that resistance? Has it caused you to feel disconnected from the people or things that matter most to you? Has it kept you from experiencing new joys or making deeper connections with those around you? Now, imagine what it would be like to embrace those changes instead of viewing them as threats to your way of life. What if you approach change as an opportunity rather than an obstacle? For example, learning to use new technology might feel daunting at first, but think of the incredible possibilities it can unlock. Staying in touch with loved ones through video calls, sharing photos with grandchildren, or even exploring new hobbies and interests online. Adopting new habits or being open to different perspectives can similarly enrich your life, keeping you mentally engaged and emotionally connected. By choosing to stay open to change, you're not just keeping up with the world. You're continuing to grow, evolve, and learn no matter your age. Embracing change is a way to stay curious and youthful in spirit, reminding yourself that there's always something new to discover. It's an invitation to remain engaged with life in all its dynamic, unpredictable beauty. Staying adaptable helps us retain a sense of relevance, not just to others but to ourselves, and it encourages a mindset of lifelong learning. Practical approach. If you find yourself struggling with change, the key is to start small. Change doesn't have to be overwhelming. It can begin with small, manageable steps that gradually help you feel more comfortable and open to new experiences. Choose one area of your life where you can practice being more adaptable. For instance, if you've resisted using new technology, start by learning one simple function on your smartphone or computer. This small step might be sending a text message, checking email, or making a video call to a family member. As you become more comfortable, you can build on that knowledge and explore other features. Another way to ease into change is by trying a new hobby or activity that sparks your interest. Is there something you've always wanted to try but felt hesitant about? Maybe it's gardening, painting, or joining a local club. By stepping out of your routine and trying something new, you remind yourself that change can be exciting and rewarding. Even small shifts, like adjusting your daily routine or trying a new recipe, can introduce a sense of freshness into your life, helping you feel more flexible and open. When it comes to perspectives, practice listening with an open mind. Engage in conversations with people who hold different views or have different experiences than your own. By doing so, you'll not only learn new things, but also develop a greater sense of empathy and understanding. Staying open to new ideas helps prevent us from becoming too rigid in our thinking and keeps our minds sharp and receptive. Deeper takeaway. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment below to let me know that you are still here with me. Adaptability is the cornerstone of aging gracefully. It allows us to continue growing, learning, and thriving even as the world around us changes. By staying open to change, we not only keep our minds sharp but also nurture our spirits, making us more resilient and flexible in the face of life's inevitable shifts. Embracing change isn't just about keeping up with the times. It's about staying fully engaged with life, maintaining strong connections with others, and continuing to evolve as individuals. When we resist change, we close ourselves off from new experiences and the opportunities for joy and connection that come with them. However, when we embrace change, we allow ourselves to remain vibrant, curious, and engaged with the world. Adapting to change keeps us connected to the present moment and the people around us, while also honoring our personal growth. Whether it's learning a new skill, trying a new hobby, or simply being open to different perspectives, change invites us to stay active participants in life, no matter what stage we're in. Ultimately, embracing change is a choice. It's about choosing curiosity over fear, growth over stagnation, and connection over isolation. By being adaptable, you continue to grow not just older but wiser, with a heart and mind open to all that life still has to offer. 8. Avoiding emotional vulnerability. As we age, it's not uncommon to become more guarded with our emotions. Life inevitably brings its share of loss, disappointment, and hurt, and over time, we may develop an instinct to protect ourselves by keeping our feelings tightly locked away. This emotional self-preservation is often a natural response to the pains we've endured, but the longer we hold on to this protective barrier, the more it can limit our ability to form meaningful and genuine connections with others. While avoiding emotional vulnerability may seem like a way to safeguard our hearts, it can also prevent us from experiencing the deeper, more fulfilling relationships that bring joy and comfort, especially in our later years. Contrary to what many might think, vulnerability isn't a sign of weakness. It's a mark of strength and emotional maturity. It takes courage to open up and share our true selves with others, to let them see our fears, insecurities, and hopes. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we create the possibility for deeper understanding, greater compassion, and stronger connections with those around us. Vulnerability invites authenticity into our relationships, allowing us to express our true feelings rather than hiding behind walls of self-protection. This emotional openness is particularly vital as we grow older, as it fosters the intimacy and connection that brings true emotional well-being. Expanding perspective. Take a moment to reflect on the relationships in your life that matter most. How have those relationships been affected by your willingness or unwillingness to be emotionally open? Have you ever held back from expressing your true feelings out of fear of being hurt or judged, only to find that doing so created more distance between you and the people you care about? Emotional vulnerability can be daunting, especially if past experiences have taught us to be wary of exposing our inner selves. But consider the impact that emotional guardedness has had on your relationships. Has it brought you closer to the people you love, or has it created an emotional barrier that's grown over time? Now, imagine what it would feel like to allow yourself to be vulnerable with the people you trust most. What if you shared your fears, your hopes, your regrets, or even your dreams with them, without the fear of being judged or misunderstood? Vulnerability isn't about oversharing or burdening others with our troubles. It's about allowing ourselves to be seen, to be fully present, and to be honest about who we are and what we feel. By embracing vulnerability, we open the door to more meaningful connections, ones that are rooted in trust, empathy, and mutual understanding. It's easy to think that by keeping our emotions hidden, we're protecting ourselves from pain. But in reality, avoiding vulnerability often leads to loneliness, emotional isolation, and a sense of disconnect from those we care about. The irony is that the very walls we build to protect ourselves from hurt also keep out the love, understanding, and emotional closeness we crave. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we give others a chance to connect with us on a deeper level. This is especially important as we age, as these deep emotional bonds are key to our sense of well-being and fulfillment. Practical approach. If you've been avoiding emotional vulnerability, start small. Opening up doesn't have to mean sharing your deepest secrets all at once. Begin by sharing something minor yet meaningful with someone you trust, a personal fear, a hope for the future, or even a small regret. This could be as simple as telling a close friend or family member how much you appreciate their presence in your life, or admitting that you've been struggling with a certain issue and could use their support. Taking this first step toward vulnerability will begin to build emotional connections that bring meaning and fulfillment, both for you and for the people who care about you. As you practice being vulnerable in small ways, you'll likely find that it becomes easier to share more significant feelings. Vulnerability, like any other skill, improves with practice. You'll start to see how being open and honest fosters deeper intimacy in your relationships, allowing you to feel more connected to the people around you. Over time, these small acts of vulnerability can lead to stronger, more trusting relationships, ones that offer the emotional nourishment and comfort we all need, especially as we grow older. It's also important to recognize that being vulnerable doesn't mean sharing your emotions indiscriminately or with everyone. Choose to open up with people you trust, those who have shown themselves to be caring, understanding, and non-judgmental. Emotional vulnerability should be a mutual exchange, where both parties feel safe to express themselves without fear of rejection or criticism. Deeper takeaway: emotional vulnerability is the key to deep, meaningful relationships. By allowing ourselves to be open and honest with the people we care about, we create space for true connection, understanding, and love. Vulnerability isn't about exposing our weaknesses or seeking validation. It's about showing up authentically in our relationships and allowing others to do the same. When we open ourselves up to emotional vulnerability, we invite intimacy into our lives, and we experience a richness in our relationships that far surpasses the superficial. As we age, it can be tempting to retreat behind emotional walls, especially after years of dealing with life's inevitable ups and downs. But life's greatest joys come from meaningful connections, the ones that are nurtured by vulnerability, trust, and emotional openness. By embracing vulnerability, we enrich our lives in ways that go far beyond physical health or material success. We create relationships that offer emotional sustenance, a sense of belonging, and the deep fulfillment that comes from being truly known and understood. Ultimately, emotional vulnerability allows us to live with a fuller heart. It's the path to forming relationships that not only support us, but also allow us to support others in return. In letting go of the need to appear strong and invulnerable, we discover the true strength that comes from authentic human connection. Through vulnerability, we not only deepen our relationships, but also give ourselves the gift of living a life that is emotionally rich and fulfilling, no matter our age. 9. Becoming too attached to the past. As we age, it's only natural to reflect on the past with a sense of nostalgia. We often find ourselves longing for the good old days, when life seemed simpler, filled with opportunities, and less fraught with the complexities that may accompany later years. These memories of past joys, successes, or even the daily rhythm of life can offer comfort, reminding us of who we once were and the experiences that shaped us. However, becoming too attached to the past can also trap us in a cycle of longing, preventing us from fully engaging with the present and embracing the future. While our memories are precious and deserve to be cherished, an over-reliance on them can breed dissatisfaction with where we are now and block us from recognizing the richness that life still has to offer. When we cling too tightly to the past, we risk creating a barrier between ourselves and the present. This attachment can manifest as a deep sense of loss or even resentment toward the changes that time brings, whether it's the inevitable shift in our physical abilities, the loss of loved ones, or the feeling that our best days are behind us. But life, in all its stages, continues to offer new opportunities for growth, connection, and joy. By focusing too much on what once was, we risk missing out on the beauty and potential of what still is and what could be. Expanding perspective. Think about the memories that you hold closest to your heart. Perhaps it's a time in your youth when the world seemed full of endless possibilities, or a moment of success that you've carried with pride throughout the years. These memories are undeniably valuable. They shape who we are and serve as reminders of the richness of our lives. But at times, the nostalgia tied to these moments can prevent us from embracing the present and all the opportunities it holds. When we dwell too much on what is past, we may inadvertently create a sense of dissatisfaction with our current circumstances, feeling as though nothing today can match the experiences of the past. Consider how it might feel to shift your focus from the past to the present. What if you allowed yourself to see the opportunities that lie ahead, rather than holding on to what's already behind you? Life is constantly offering new possibilities, whether it's through relationships, hobbies, experiences, or personal growth. While the past will always be a part of us, the future still holds untapped potential. By choosing to live fully in the present, you open yourself to new experiences, new joys, and new connections that are waiting to unfold. Imagine the emotional freedom that comes with accepting the present moment as it is, rather than comparing it to an idealized version of the past. What would it feel like to embrace your current life, your relationships, your interests, your surroundings, with the same passion and enthusiasm you once had for the good old days? When we allow ourselves to appreciate the here and now, we not only cultivate gratitude, but also invite new opportunities for fulfillment. Each day becomes a chance to create fresh memories that can be just as valuable as those from our past. Practical approach. If you find yourself dwelling too much on the past, it's helpful to create intentional moments where you focus on the present. One simple, practical approach is to set aside time each day to engage in activities that bring you joy right now. This could be spending quality time with loved ones, starting a new hobby or passion project, going for a walk in nature, or practicing mindfulness. By actively participating in the present, you create space for new experiences and connections that can bring as much fulfillment as the memories you cherish. You might also consider balancing your reflection on the past with a focus on the future. For example, if you catch yourself reminiscing about how things used to be, gently shift your attention to something you're looking forward to in the coming weeks or months. This could be a family gathering, learning something new, or even a personal goal that excites you. By redirecting your focus toward the future, you remind yourself that there are still many moments of joy and accomplishment yet to come. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 5 below to let me know that you are still here with me. It's also important to embrace the fact that it's okay to honor your memories while also letting go of the idea that they were the best times of your life. Each stage of life brings unique opportunities for growth, meaning, and connection. The present may not look exactly like the past, but that doesn't mean it's any less valuable or meaningful. In fact, by letting go of our attachment to the past, we can more fully appreciate the life that's unfolding before us. Deeper takeaway: the past is undeniably a part of who we are. It shapes our identity, our values, and our understanding of the world. But it doesn't define who we can become. When we become too attached to the past, we limit our ability to grow and thrive in the present. By letting go of excessive attachment to what was, we free ourselves to live fully in the here and now, to embrace the future with open arms, and to continue evolving as individuals. Life is a continuous journey, and every stage, no matter our age, offers opportunities for connection, joy, and personal growth. Aging gracefully means finding balance, honoring the past while remaining fully engaged with the life that's still unfolding before us. It means appreciating the memories we've created while recognizing that new memories are waiting to be made. It's about acknowledging the wisdom we've gained from our experiences without allowing nostalgia to cloud our view of the present. By staying open to the possibilities that still lie ahead, we not only enrich our own lives, but also the lives of those around us. Ultimately, life continues to offer beauty, richness, and meaning at every stage. When we allow ourselves to release the grip of the past, we step into the freedom to experience the fullness of life today. In doing so, we honor not only the memories that have shaped us, but also the journey that continues to unfold, offering us new chances to grow, connect, and find joy. As we've explored these common challenges of aging, from holding on to grudges to resisting change and becoming too attached to the past, it's clear that growth, connection, and emotional well-being are possible at every stage of life. The key is to remain open, to stay present, and to embrace opportunities for personal transformation. Now, I'd like to hear from you. What have you learned from this discussion so far? Take a moment to reflect on one lesson that resonated with you and share how you plan to bring it into practice in your own life. If you liked this video, please leave your comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more insightful content.